Chico Study Corner, and today I'll be dealing with the part 2 of current electricity, that is physics chapter 3 of class 12 CBSE. So without any further ado, let's get into the chapter. So if you're watching part 2 for the first time, make sure you watch part 1 and then continue watching because part 1 is important. So let's get into the video. So we discussed about resistance, resistivity and all in the previous session. Now we have to learn about something known as conductance. So it is represented as G. Conductance is represented as G. And conductance is equal to the reciprocal of resistance. Okay, what is conductance? Conductance is the reciprocal of resistance. If resistance is the opposing force for the movement of electrons, then conductance is the ease of movement of electrons, ease of flow of current is known as conductance. So this is conductance. It is, resistance is ohm. So this is ohm inverse or Semen inverse. Not Semen inverse. It's either Semen. Okay. So Semen means it is 1 by ohm is equal to Semen. So now we learned about the something known as conductance. So we learned about resistance and resistivity. If resistance reciprocal is conductance, what would be the reciprocal of resistivity? Conductivity. So let's see what is conductivity. So conductivity is represented as, conductivity is represented as sigma. Okay, so let's write is equal to 1 by rho. Okay, 1 by rho. So what is the what is the unit of rho? That is ohm meter. Okay, ohm meter. So what will it become for sigma? Sigma is equal to ohm inverse meter inverse or Semen meter. Okay, so this is Semen meter inverse. Yeah, Semen meter inverse. So that is conductivity. So we discussed about what all did we discuss? We discussed about in the previous session about resistance, resistivity. Now about conductance and conductivity. Now we know there's a term called as what? Current density. Okay, current density is represented by the letter J. So for current density, G is equal to what? Current density. What is a term that would surely be there in this equation? That is current. So I. How do you find out density of an object? If that is I by A. Okay. So let's see what is current density in detail. So now we learn that J or current density is equal to I by A. We always say density is equal to mass by volume. So over here area means the volume only. Okay. So let's write the unit. For I, what is the unit? Ampere. What is the unit of volume? It can be centimeters, centimeter cube, meter cube, anything. So we will measure it as meter cube because that is the SI unit of length. Sorry, it is SI unit of measurements. So that is J is equal to ampere per meter cube. Okay. And we know that J is a vector quantity. From this equation, can we derive the equation for current? Yes, I is equal to J. It's a vector quantity. I said even volume is a vector quantity. J cross A. Am I right? And this is a scalar quantity. Okay? And we know an equation for I. Let's write that. Okay? I is equal to NaEVT. Did we learn this equation? Did we learn? And we also learned an equation for Vd also. What is that equation? Vd is equal to minus E2 divided by M. Let's substitute this over here. So I'm substituting it. Let me make it E2 divided by M. So there is a double E. So let's make it. It's equal to NaE square E2 divided by M. This is the I. So we said I is equal to NaE square E2 divided by M. And we know that current density G is equal to I divided by A. So why don't we make this an A? So let's do it. So J is equal to divided by A. Okay? Or let's make it into 1 by A. This gets cancelled, this gets cancelled. So what is the equation? What is the equation for J? J is equal to NE square E2 divided by M. This is the equation for current density with respect to what? 2. So now we'll discuss about the effective temperature on resistance and resistivity. So let's see. So we know the equation for both resistance and resistivity. So what is the common thing that we have found out in that? We saw that resistance is inversely proportional to τ as well as resistivity is inversely proportional to τ. So now the effective temperature is what I am talking, right? Effective temperature. So if temperature in a metallic conductor, if temperature increases, what would happen? Collisions would be faster. So what would happen? τ will decrease. Relaxation time would decrease. So I said resistance and resistivity is inversely proportional. So in the first case, for metallic conductors, what happens? As we'll take it if temperature increases, what happens? Collisions increases, resulting in what? Decrease in relaxation time. What is the overall result? That resistivity and resistance increases. Okay, that is for metallic conductors. So now we take the case of, so the second case is about the electrolytes. So for electrolytes, what happens is, as temperature increases, mobility of the ions also increases. So what would happen? That would give a way for increase in resistance and resistivity. Okay, that will give a way for increase in resistance and resistivity. The third case is the case of semiconductors. So let's write it here. Semiconductors, as temperature increases, what happens? The covalent bonds break, and resulting in increase in the number concentration of ions and holes. So what would happen? That will decrease the resistance, whereas increase the conductance. So that is all to talk about the effective temperature. So now let's see a VI graph of resistance. So this is the VI graph for metallic conductors. So let's see. So first we have to find out which temperature is greater. So let's see. First one is R1 and second one is taken as R2. So the R1 makes an angle of 30 degree with the I, and T2 makes an angle of 60 degree with I. So let's see. So R2 by R1 is equal to tan 60 by tan 30. That is root 3 divided by 1 by root 3. That would be root 3 into root 3, that is equal to 3. So that is R2 by R1 is equal to 3 3 by 1, that is equal to T2 by T1. From here you can see T2 is greater than T1, so T2 is greater than T1. We have concluded the conclusion of VI graph. From VI graph, what did we understand? The one with the larger, angle would make will have more temperature. So this is the VI graph. So now let's discuss about something. First we will take a situation where the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. Then the resistance is represented as R0. And at a particular temperature, at temperature T, what happens? The resistance is marked as RT. Implies what? At a temperature means it's something greater than 0 degrees Celsius. It's not lesser than 0 degrees Celsius. We take that case. So RT greater than R0. That is our case. So over here we know to find out something, 0 plus the difference would give you the new one, the new term. So that is R0 plus R0 alpha T would give RT. Okay? And then R0 alpha T is equal to, we just keep this here and take this to the side, RT minus R0. So over here we don't know what is alpha. So we have to find what is alpha. Therefore alpha is equal to RT minus R0 by R0T. So this is the equation. So what is this alpha? That is the coefficient of resistance. Okay? The coefficient of resistance, that is the ratio between the increase in resistance divided by the original resistance for every unit increase of temperature. That is alpha. And then there is something known as alpha R, that is the coefficient of resistivity, where that implies it is the ratio between the increase in resistivity divided by the original resistivity in unit increase of temperature. So that is to discuss about what is alpha. This is about alpha. Now we have to see alpha in different conditions, that is for metallic conductors, electrolytes and semiconductors. So let's see. So first we discuss about metallic conductors. Okay. For metallic conductors, let's write value of alpha is equal to positive. Okay. We discussed before, as temperature increases, resistance and resistivity of a metallic conductor would increase, and therefore alpha is a positive value. And second one is the case of electrolytes. So for electrolytes, as temperature increases, what happens? The mobility of ion increases, which will decrease the resistance and resistivity. Okay. So what will happen for electrolytes? The alpha value therefore is negative. The resistance and resistivity is decreasing, so the alpha value is negative. Now for semiconductors, what is that? Alpha value is positive, but it is very, very small value. A small value. It's positive, but it's a very small value. So therefore semiconductors have some uses. So let's mention the uses. So because of this, what happens? Because of this factor, the making of resistance, standard resistance. Okay. So now we'll see now we'll discuss about how or why is semiconductors used in making resistances. So let's see, the first point is they have a very small alpha value. Okay, they have a very small alpha value. That is, their resistance and resistivity does not change does not change during change in temperature. When the temperature is even to a great extent, if there is a change to a great extent, there is no much variation in the resistance and resistivity. Okay, that is the first point. The second one, they have high resistivity. Okay, that is our second point. They have high resistivity. And then there is something known as contact potential. The contact potential of these semiconductors with copper is it's negligible, or it is not there. Okay? contact potential with copper is very small. Is small. Okay. Then our last point is they are least affected by the atmospheric conditions. Okay, the temperature change, humidity, and nothing would affect their working. So this is why what semiconductors are used in resistances. Okay, so first one is this: their low or their alpha value is positive and this is very small. Second one is they have high resistivity values, they have low contact potential, and they are least affected by the temperature or pressure changes, atmospheric changes. Okay. So now let's discuss about something known as superconductors. The phenomenon of decrease in the let's consider a metal. We learn that when temperature decreases, what happens? The resistance will also decrease. But when the temperature decreases to a certain amount, that is the critical temperature or the transition temperature, the value of the resistance would be zero, and there would be electron flow without any resistance. That phenomenon is known as superconductivity, and that material is known as superconductors. At a certain temperature, what happens when there is decrease in temperature? When it reaches the critical temperature, from there onwards there is no resistance. It's zero resistance. So let's see the example of Hg. Hg at 4.2 Kelvin, what happens? It will act as a superconductor. Okay? So Hg at 4.2 Kelvin will act as a superconductor. So let's see the graph. So this is the graph. So Hg is over here and this is 4.2 Kelvin, this is temperature. So what would happen? This will become zero. This is the graph. Okay? So now we will be discussing about EMF. That is electromotive force. Okay? That is EMF. What is electromotive force? That is the maximum potential difference across a cell when the key is closed or when there is no current being flowed or being drawn from it. Okay? So let's see. Let's draw a typical circuit. So this is our battery. This is our key. Let's say over here we have a resistance, an external resistance. So now I told you there is a maximum potential difference across a cell when the key is open. So the key is open right now, and this is the voltmeter. Now the voltmeter reading over here is the EMF. The key is open, it's an open key. This is the external resistance. So the EMF is the voltmeter reading when the key is open. Now we have to learn about something known as internal resistance. Internal resistance, what is it? Internal resistance is now we have to discuss about internal resistance. So internal resistance is the resistance offered by the electrodes and electrolytes inside a cell when the key is closed. So that is internal resistance. So now we learn about something known as terminal potential difference or terminal voltage. So what is terminal potential difference? The same thing. We learned that when this is the external resistance, this is the key, this is the battery, yeah, and this is the voltmeter. This case is for an EMF. Over here, what is this? This is an open circuit. Open circuit, it's not closed. The key is not closed. But in the case of when you learn the terminal potential difference, that is the potential difference across the terminals of the battery when the current is being drawn from it. That is when the key is closed. So now the voltmeter reading is known as what? Terminal potential difference or terminal voltage. Okay? So that is to talk about these three terms. So now we learn graphs. So before learning about the graphs, I forgot to mention the representations of each of them. EMF is represented by the letter E. Okay? EMF is E. E. And terminal voltage or terminal potential difference is represented by capital V. Okay? And then what did we learn? Internal resistance. Internal resistance is represented by small r. So this is the representations of each of them. Okay? So now let's see the graphs. So for graphs, before discussing the graph, we have to discuss the formula. Before learning the graph, we have to learn the equation for terminal potential difference. That is V. V is equal to the what? This is the EMF. EMF minus I into R. I into R is internal resistance into current. So let's see. From that, what is E? E is equal to, let's see, V plus I R. Am I right? E is equal to V plus I R, or I R is equal to V. Okay. We'll take this to here and we'll take this to here. So that is E minus V. So these are the equations. We found out IR. Now we have to find the R. Okay, the R over here. We have to find out the R. We found out till here. So what is R? R is equal to E minus V divided by I. So that is the equation. So now we'll substitute something in this equation. So let us see. So we know that V is equal to I into R. Therefore, what is R? I would become V by R. So we'll substitute this over here. So R is equal. This is R is equal to. Okay, R is equal to E minus V divided by what? V by R. V by R would come in. The R would come in the numerator. So let's put in a bracket into R. Okay, we found it out. Now we know that this equation is E by V minus V by V. Am I right? So what would happen into R? That will become E by V minus 1 into R is equal to what? The internal resistance. So this is the equation for internal resistance. I hope you might have understood this. This is also a relation between R, E and V. Okay. Now when we talk about graphs. So the first graph we have to learn is the graph between EMF and R. By the way, there are 3 graphs that we have to learn in this session. So first one is EMF and R. That is EMF is not dependent on resistance. Okay, that is what EMF is dependent on resistance. Therefore, the graph between EMF and R is a straight line. Okay, now we'll discuss the second graph. So this is our second situation. On the second situation, first we'll discuss this equation and then we'll move on to the graph. Over here the graph is V by R graph. Okay. So let's see. V is equal to E minus IR. We learned this equation for what? The terminal potential difference. So we are substituting the equation, that is V is equal to IR is written as what? I is equal to V by R. This is being substituted over here and this becomes like this. So to find out E, you take this and you put it here. So it becomes V plus V by R into small r. That is equal to the EMF. And then you take V outside. Okay. You take V outside and then it becomes 1 plus R by R is equal to EMF. Implies what? V is equal to E divided by 1 plus R by R. What does this relation show? So this relation shows that if R increases, what happens? V will also increase. So what is this? If R increases, V will also increase. And therefore what will happen? If we take a situation where R is infinity. If R is infinity, what will happen? V is equal to E. If R is infinity, V is equal to E. In that situation, then the graph would become parallel to this x-axis. That is what is shown over here. This is our second graph. Now we learn about our third graph. So V is equal to E minus IR. We have this equation. We are dealing with the same equation in every case. So V is equal to E minus IR, and that we'll just make it into another form so you can equate it to the straight line equation. So V is equal to minus Ri plus E. So that is we equated to Y is equal to Mx plus C. C is equal to the EMF, that is the intercept. So see, the Y intercept is over here, that is EMF. And then what is X? the x-axis is I. Okay, the x-axis is I, and what is our y-axis is v, and m is our what? Our slope. M is the slope, and m is what? Minus r. Okay, so that is why this is a declining slope. So this is all to discuss about the graphs. So that's all for today's session. I hope you might have understood this well. If you have understood it and liked my video, please give my video a huge thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you are watching it for the first time, and also share my videos with your other friends. So see you on my next video. Till then, bye bye.